Hey guys, so I just wanted to share because I think that so many of you guys can relate. Um, I last night I had um I guess you would say nightmares about my family, and that just happens every few months and stuff like that. And and I think I've mentioned that I have younger siblings, and I have like five of them. So my youngest brother is actually 12, and I've missed, missed them incredibly a lot. And so anyway, so I called and left a message for my dad to call me back, so he could get me, so I could just make sure that I had everyone's birthdays, so then that way I could make sure that I was sending them cards and stuff like that. And my dad called back, which was great. And so, yeah, we talked for like probably a good 20 minutes, I think, on the phone. And I'd say this is probably the first time we've talked for that long. I don't even know when. I honestly don't even know when the last time I actually talked to my dad. I think it might have actually been a year since I've talked to him. And he and I can have a pretty reasonable conversation, which is really great. So anyway, so we were talking about the kids, and he updated me on everyone, which is great. And some of it I already knew because I do stay in touch with a couple of my siblings. But anyway, yeah. So, and then we got into talking about mom, and that was interesting. I mean, we both acknowledged, of course, that it's awkward for him to call me, and because I said, you can call anytime, and he said, like, well, it's kind of awkward. And I said, I know. I said it's totally understandable, if you don't want to, and it was good because he actually got angry with me, which is great actually, because I mean, my dad like has rarely ever gotten angry with me since maybe since I was a kid. So I know that he let out what his pain, which has been hard on him and what's been hurting him and stuff. And so he talked about how like my mom is just miserable. um he's like, April, he's like, she spends hours every week just sitting, sulking, and just doesn't know what to do. And he's like, she really doesn't know what to do and how to make things better between you two. And I don't really know what to say to that. Um, I mean, it just sounds very classic, untreated borderline. When someone doesn't know, what they do is they typically what sit around and feel sorry for themselves, and of course, because my mom's borderline, the way it manifests is because she's a victim in the world. Of course, she's going to sit around feeling like a victim of me. And she's said over and over again to my dad, he said, like, it's like every week we talk about you, and she's just like, I just don't understand what I did, and that's sad, of course, because yeah, I mean, I understand she's emotionally ill. She's an emotionally ill person. And so so she is limited. But the thing is that, and this is what I told my dad, I said, but, like the thing is that I said, Dad, I said, you know, even if we tried to do like the whole thing of like, let's go into therapy together, like I said, you know, I said, it's not going to work. I said, she has to want to change for herself. I said, she wants to have to work it out. And it was interesting because my dad, then he yelled, and it was interesting to listen to what he said, because he said, like, he's like, you're the only person that she's having problems with. He said, if four out of, the seven kids, had like wouldn't talk to her like you did. He said, then I would definitely say there's an issue there. He's like, but you're the only one. And it's like, well, okay, first off, I'm really the only girl. The rest of them are guys, and so typically for most boys, and especially my brothers, they're all dealing with her in different ways. Like the two that I talk to, acknowledge that she's got some major issues, and I've never talked to them about the fact that she's a borderline. Yeah, they're just really young still, like they're 26 and 20 actually. And, so I've never talked to them about her being a borderline, but they deal with her in their own way. And so, like one, he just literally hides his personality from her. Like she thinks that he's super quiet and he's super reserved, and he is at home. And then when he's out with his friends, he's himself. He's his open, fun, engaging guy, and stuff like that. So because he's been able to do that with her, he doesn't get the drama. Um, and of course too, they're all boys, and part of the reason why she and I have such a hard time together is because obviously, like, I'm a sensitive person, and so is she. But also too, she's um, it's the fact that like her mom is, a borderline, and so the fact that like she didn't get what she wanted out of her mom, she's projecting that onto me. That's why I've been targeted as the bad child, in the family and stuff. So anyway, so it's all, none of it's a surprise whatsoever. Like, of course, my siblings have all figured out, um, ways to cope. And I think that that's true for all of our siblings. Like, every sibling copes differently with a borderline mother. Not everyone just immediately cuts them out. So anyway, so, I said, honestly, Dad, I said, I just don't think that we'll ever solve this ever, unless, she really, got some help or something like that. And she's made it very clear that she's not the one with the problem, that I am. I said, I would be open to going back to like the shallow relationship that we had. I said, because, for a couple of years, we really did have, like a very polite, tolerable relationship where um, we just talked pretty much about the weather, and I held myself back majorly, like no opinions, no real thoughts. I hid myself because I actually watched my 26-year-old brother do it, and I'm like, I need to do that. That's what my tactic needs to be. And and even too watching my dad, like my that's what my dad does. My dad just is quiet, around her and just lets her be herself or whatever. So anyway, I said, I would be open to that. I said, but Dad, I'm like, it's just the same thing of what's going to happen is it's just give it another couple of years and she'll have another rager, and I can't do that. I cannot. I said, I won't put myself through that. I won't put my siblings through that. I'm like, it hurts everyone when she does that. I said, I can't do that. You know, it's only a matter of time before she would just rage at me again about how unhappy she is with our relationship, how disappointed she is. And it's like, and she will, because that's the thing about an untreated borderline is they're out of control. They don't have the skill set to handle themselves. And so because of that, like, sure, she can suppress it for a while, she won't suppress it forever. She can't. It's going to come to the surface. It just is, because she's untreated. And so I'm just like, I can't. And I told him, I said, look, I refuse to be in and out of this family. I refuse to be in and out. I said, so I really don't know what to do. Like, it, all I would be redoing is repeating a cycle over and over again with her. So I'm stuck, because I ache to see my siblings. And, you know, um, and it would be so great to see my dad too. But I have, but she's in control, and I don't know what to do, right now. So if you guys have any thoughts or ideas, feel free to share them. But I just thought it would be good to at least capture my initial reaction because I literally got off the phone with him like 5 minutes ago. Um, and I got a lot to think about, of course, and a lot to figure out, but hopefully I mean, I think, and this is what I really appreciate about him is, he's like, good is going to come out of this. We are going to move forward, like somehow, some way. I'm like, I agree with you. I just don't. It's never going to be ever like what she wants, which is, she wants me to be her, self worth or whatever. So, anyway, yeah, it's just rough. So anyway, and it's funny too because he's like, I've never heard her say that she's disappointed in your relationship. I'm like, you should have been there for that 2.5 hour rager that we had on Christmas Eve. Like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was definitely it. When someone's screaming at you, why won't you open up? Why won't you let me in? And stuff like that. And it's like, because, like, oh, it just would be so toxic because I grew up with it. So anyway, well, thank you for listening to my rambling. I hope you have a great day.